I mean, do you think that a 16-year-old can meaningfully consent to having their body parts removed? Do you? No?
Welcome to the Bald Brad Show. In today's episode, we have Matt Walsh testifying before the State House Health Committee on this youth gender bill. We're going to listen to his testimony, and then we're going to listen to how he destroys the Democrats and a Democrat on this panel. This is one you're not going to want to miss. As always, support the show by hitting that like and subscribe button. Leaving us a short, sweet comment down below. Your help support would be greatly appreciated. Without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
My name is Matt Walsh. I'm here as a husband, father, and concerned citizen of the state of Tennessee, and I want to thank the committee for allowing me to speak and for all of you on the committee who support this important legislation. Now, I know that we can't agree on very much these days, but we should be able to agree that our most solemn responsibility as individuals, as a state, and as a country is to protect our children. We should be able to agree that children do not have the physical, emotional, or mental capacity to protect themselves or to make life-altering decisions. We should be able to agree that it's never okay to chemically castrate, sterilize, butcher, or mutilate a child, and in fact, all decent people do agree on all these points. But many of the people who hold power in this country and who run our institutions, including our medical institutions, do not pass this basic test of decency. They've made House Bill 1 not only necessary, but one of the most important pieces of legislation this body has ever taken into consideration. In service to a radical far-left agenda, children are being led down a path of gender confusion and identity crisis. This crisis, manufactured by the cultures and exploited and monetized by medical professionals who first put them on chemical castration drugs like Lupron. Then the victims are given cross-sex hormones, which often have irreversible and permanent effects. Finally, before the age of 18, many of these kids will undergo surgeries such as double mastectomies, which will alter their bodies and their lives forever, taking something away that they can never get back.
I kind of want to add on to that aspect of 90% of those that want to be trans, meaning they believe that they can go from a male to a female or female to a male, 90% of those by the age of 18 no longer want to be trans, that they're comfortable with the body that they were born into, meaning if you were born a male, they're comfortable with the fact cognitively as well that they are a male. But 80% of that 90% will still stay a part of the LGBTQ community. They'll just classify themselves as being gay. Now, the problem with that is inside the LGBTQ community, elemental P, XYZ divided by to the power of 2 sign, they are going to have an internal war, because what you're doing is you're castrating those that by the age of 18 don't want to be trans anymore, but you've lopped off all their genitalia so that when they opt into being gay, the gay community is now castrated left and right from the same policies, or at least the same agenda or narrative that community that they were once a part of and still want to be a part of just got done castrating them. So you're going to see an internal war here soon with the LGBTQ community, with the trans versus the gays, and the lesbians with the gays going against the trans. It's going to be crazy, folks, but let's continue.
No matter how much they regret it in the future, and so many do. This is happening across the country, and that includes in our state. Children are being coerced into decisions that they are not equipped to make in pursuit of a goal that can never be attained. The girl who gets the double mastectomy is no closer to being a boy after getting the procedure than she was before. She's still a girl and will always be a girl, just now a mutilated and damaged one.
True.
Now, you may notice that most of the people who support and advocate for this butchery are not petitioning to lower the drinking age. They're not trying to pass a law to allow middle schoolers to get tattoos or take out mortgages or purchase firearms or cigarettes. That's because even they recognize that minors lack the maturity and discernment required to make those choices. They recognize that when it comes to alcohol and tobacco and guns and mortgages and tattoos, yet when it comes to irreversible, life-altering medical interventions, suddenly these same people discover a newfound confidence in the responsible decision-making powers of children. Their position is not even consistent or coherent, much less morally or scientifically defensible.
Damn, Matt Walsh is laying down the law right now. Speaking facts, folks. Facts don't care about your feelings.
We cannot allow this wickedness to continue. We cannot tolerate it. We are decent and rational people in this state. We love our children. We recognize basic truths. One of those basic truths is that a child who is confused about her identity needs guidance and love and clarity. She does not need hormone injections and scalpels. She needs and deserves to be protected from those child-abusing quacks and soulless vultures who wish to exploit her confusion for their own gain. That's why we need this law. Our kids cannot protect themselves, but we can, and we must, and we are. Thank you.
So that's his testimony. And what they do is they open the committee up to questions for Matt Walsh. And you have a Democrat here that gets exposed by Matt Walsh, and it is just jaw-dropping. And I'll make my point after we watch the clip. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Representative Hammer.
Thank you. I found it. Thank you, Mr. Walsh. I found it interesting. One of our people testified today that they had their gender affirming surgery at 16. And I know you in former comments mentioned this on your blog. At about 16, you're an adult who is mature and can make decisions. You're that at 16. I don't care what anybody says. Even going so far as to say, 16 people. When you're 16, you should be married and could be pregnant or should be pregnant. So I'm curious if 16 is an adult in your view. Why does this bill have the minor defined as 18?
Mr. Walsh, you're recognized.
Yeah, that's a hit piece you took from Media Matters, from something when I was a radio host 13, 14 years ago in my early 20s. It's also not an accurate reflection of what I actually said. I was talking about the fact that people tended to marry young historically, and that's all that was about.
I want to point out that Democrats have done this way more than any other party, the Green Party, the Independent Party, the Conservatives, the Republican Party. They are so slimy when they do this. They did the same thing with Candace Owens, talking about some sort of Hitler quote or something like that. They'll sit there and take your quotes out of context, like extraordinary out of context quotes, and they'll try to use it against you. And especially something that happened like 15 years ago that you're just kind of supposed to remember those types of things. Thank God Matt Walsh was prepared for this, but it just shows you how slimy and disgusting these politicians are on the Democrat side of the aisle. I'm not saying there aren't some on the Republicans, but damn, there is a lot of swampy people on the Democrat side of the aisle.
How does that relate to this?
Great question.
Just curious of your definition of if you feel like people are adults at 16 should.
Well, people are adults at 18, but actually, your brain is not fully developed until you're 25. So we should be having a conversation about.
And I believe some of that development is with the frontal lobe that has some sort of decision making, and you having that understanding that certain decisions that you're making now, present time, have a future impact. And there's those that are in high school, middle school, obviously, that aren't able to actually cognitively understand that the decisions that they're making now are going to impact some sort of future self in the future. And we have to understand that even as educators and especially adults, that they don't actually understand that. They don't understand that is to ought or what is now is going to be. They fully can't cognitively understand that. And so when you have this stuff trying to push legislation where you're having these 16-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 14-year-olds making decisions about having their genitalia lopped off, and you're supposed to be the one that can actually understand the future ramifications of that for them, is mind-blowing that you have the left of the Democrat Party wanting to do this. It is so crazy because they fully can't understand it. But, that's what the Democrats want, but they say they don't. And we'll get to that point after this clip here, I promise.
Whether we should even be doing these surgeries to people at 18. But certainly before 18, it's absurd. I mean, do you think that a 16-year-old can meaningfully consent to having their body parts removed? Do you? No?
We do not. Yeah, we ask the questions. It's not you. It's Representative Hammer, you are recognized.
A layup of a question, and the Democrat doesn't answer. It shows you their agenda. And what's crazy to me is on my shorts, I showed this pedo guy here, this groomer right here. And I said, this is the Democrat Party for you. I'll play the clip in just one moment. Go over and watch it if you haven't already. Give it a lot of likes and comments because you got a lot of leftists in here, folks. A lot of Democrat Party people going, oh, it's one guy. You can't have one guy represent the Democrat Party. No. This comes from the White House. This comes from Joe Biden. This comes from the Democrat Party. This comes with the Democrat Party in bed with the left, wanting to groom children. We all see it in our education system. We see it from our politicians. You just saw one example of many that are also out there of the Democrat Party wanting to castrate our children. Watch this clip.
So do you think a 12-year-old should be able to consent to sex with an adult?
Here's what I think. I think that different people mature at different rates. Everyone would agree with that.
Let's ask that question again, though.
Okay.
If I may.
Absolutely.
Do you think a 12-year-old, do you think any 12-year-old can consent to sex with an adult?
It doesn't sound good, but a mature adult that understands the concept of consent. Why should we limit someone by their age?
What? This is what you get for voting Democrat, folks. This is the Democrat Party for you. And I'm telling you, there's Democrats in there going, oh, well, that's not us. Yes, it is. Yeah, it literally is. You are voting for this stuff. If I had Republicans pushing this agenda, I guarantee you I'm off the ballot. I'm off the ballot. We need to start thinking about switching parties at this point in terms of actually creating another party itself out of the Republican Party, because this is disgusting. You are voting for this if you are Democrat. You just saw an example. Literally, the White House sent out public service announcements affirming this type of stuff, that they want children to get that transitional help, to have gender mutilation, or at least castrate your children, give them hormone, puberty blockers, all this stuff the White House sent out, and we've done episodes on it. But you're going to have these knuckleheads that are Democrats going, oh, no, I'm not for it. Maybe you aren't. But why the hell are you still voting Democrat for something like this? This is nuts. This is actually crazy. But, hey, we can't sit there and use examples of actual Democrats talking about this stuff, the White House talking about this stuff, Vice President Kamala Harris talking about this stuff, Karine Jean-Pierre talking about this stuff, Joe Biden talking about this stuff. You got GOP people going up against these Democrats in Nashville, and then the GOP like Matt Walsh and other Republicans exposing the Democrat Party in Nashville and other areas across the United States. But no, it's not the Democrat Party. You're right. We're just making this up. Again, it's all conspiracy theories once again, right? We're just pulling this out of our you-know-what. Let me know what you think about this in the comment section, folks, because it is unbelievable, the gaslighting that's coming from this party, and it's unbelievable the comments that we get from the left and the Democrat Party in our comment section. Let's fight back here and give them a little bit of taste of what it means to be an American patriot. As always, support the show by hitting that like and subscribe button, leaving us a short, sweet comment down below. And folks, I will see you tomorrow here on The Ball Brat Show.